Okay, let's dive into this explainer and look at the actual science behind building lasting habits. We live in a world absolutely overflowing with productivity hacks, but today we're going to ground ourselves entirely in the research. We're going to explore time tracking, the profound benefits of active reflection, and why an app called Kairis might just be the most scientifically aligned tool out there for how our brains actually work.
So let's start by addressing a highly relatable frustration. You already know what you should be doing, right? You know you should exercise, read, or focus on deep work. The problem isn't a lack of knowledge. The problem is what happens on the day you just don't follow through. Most habit tracking apps out there expect absolute perfection. They're designed for this idealized, flawless version of you, and frankly, they just end up punishing you for simply being human.
Because, let's be real, instead of a flawless, perfectly color-coordinated demo made for some marketing brochure, a real day is messy. It's a realistic timeline of sleep, maybe some quick bursts of reading, varying blocks of exercise, and deep work sprinkled in. To build a lasting routine, you absolutely need an app that reflects this reality, not a fantasy. You need a system that adapts to your actual life.
Section 1. Cues over willpower and the environmental design. We'll begin our analysis here by shifting the focus away from sheer willpower, which, as we all know, is a finite resource that completely burns out by 5 p.m., and move toward the psychology of environmental design. Designing your environment means creating systems that pull you toward good behavior rather than relying on you to push yourself every single time.
And that brings us to a foundational concept in behavioral psychology. According to research by Gowitzer and Sharon, using an implementation intention has a medium to large effect on whether you actually follow through with a habit. Now, an implementation intention simply means attaching a habit to a specific trigger or cue. So you don't just vaguely say, I will read more. You say, after I finish my morning coffee, I will read. The trigger itself initiates the action.
And this isn't just some bold, empty claim from a self-help guru. This medium to large effect is backed by a rigorous meta-analysis of 94 different studies. Think about that. When 94 independent studies point in the exact same direction, well, it's probably time we start designing our lives around that data.
Which is why Kairis starts exactly where the research does. Instead of just handing you a blank checklist, the app allows you to design specific cues. You can visibly link a new habit to trigger right after existing activities, like sleep, work, or exercise. It takes that precise moment and transforms a vague desire into a concrete, automated prompt.
Section 2. The myth of rigid streaks and why forgiveness matters. Let's tackle the single biggest hurdle in the entire world of habit tracking, the dreaded broken streak. We all know that awful feeling of losing a 30-day streak because of one insanely busy Tuesday, and how that single failure often makes us just throw our hands up and abandon the habit entirely.
But here's the crucial point, found right in the research. A major study on habit automaticity by Lally and colleagues found something incredibly liberating. Missing a single opportunity did not materially impair habit formation. I'll say that again. Your brain does not erase all its progress because you missed one single day. One bad Tuesday doesn't ruin your entire trajectory.
That exact same study completely debunked the popular myth that it takes exactly 21 days to form a habit. The data actually showed the median time to build a habit is 66 days. But get this, the range was massive, from 18 days all the way up to 254 days. This literally proves that building habits takes patience and persistence over the long haul, not rigid short-term perfection.
To align directly with this scientific evidence, Kairis introduces a highly customizable streak rule. You actually get to define when a streak breaks. So you can set it so progress only resets after, say, 5 missed days in a row. This means your progress only resets on a true pattern of neglect, not on a single isolated slip-up. Finally, your streak can actually survive real life.
This represents a massive psychological shift away from the traditional punishing, don't break the chain mentality. The traditional mindset says every single day must count, which just breeds anxiety and guilt. The Kairos mindset embraces planned chances, acknowledging that real life requires flexibility, rest, and above all, realistic expectations.
By defining your weekly standard using these planned chances, like, say, working out 5 times a week, you set a solid goal without pretending you need to do it all 7 days. It completely relieves the guilt of missing a day because that day off is already factored into your successful week.
Section 3. The power of monitoring and reflection as intervention. Simply paying attention to your time and actions can profoundly change your behavior. Now we're moving beyond just checking a box and diving into the incredible proven benefits of time tracking and active reflection.
A massive review of 138 studies by Harkin and colleagues proved that monitoring your progress is itself one of the most reliably effective interventions we have. Just the act of tracking what you do actively promotes you actually achieving that goal. Simply put, awareness creates behavioral change. And this is exactly why Kairis is arguably the best app out there for this specific scientific principle. It doesn't just ask, did you do it? It utilizes active time tracking by prompting you to log crucial internal metrics alongside every single time entry. You're tracking duration, your focus level, your energy state, and the specific category of the task. This rich data turns blind tracking into incredibly active reflection.
By tracking your energy levels from high to totally drained and categorizing your task priority, Kairis bakes deep self-reflection directly into your daily routine. You begin to notice patterns. You realize why a certain habit failed on Thursday. Perhaps you were tracking your time and noticed your energy was completely drained before you even started. That level of reflection is just invaluable. And as you actively track and reflect, you start making real progress. Your dashboard's primary focus shifts seamlessly as habits are finally locked in and moved to the secured section. This visually proves what still matters right now, reducing your cognitive load and keeping your attention strictly on the habits that still need your energy. Section 4. Honest Tracking with Kairis, the anti-hype solution. Let's bring all this research together to understand why Kairis' entire philosophy is so distinct from everything else in the App Store. It's built entirely on the foundation of what we've just explored: cues, flexibility, and the immense power of time tracking and reflection.
Kairis relies on calm, honest tracking that actually treats you like an adult. Think about it. There is no artificial hype here. There are no cartoon characters cheering you on, no gamified slot machine mechanics, and absolutely no confetti exploding on your screen just for showing up. It respects the science, and more importantly, it respects your time.
So as you look at your own goals for the coming months, you've got to ask yourself a serious question. Are you going to keep punishing yourself with rigid streaks that ignore reality? Or are you finally ready to track your time, reflect honestly, and build habits the way your brain actually works? It's time to ditch the confetti and let the science do the heavy lifting.
Download the Kairis app now